Here's more wrestling news for April 23rd, 2023, and we're kicking off today with William Regal, who departed AEW last December to make his return to WWE. At the time, it was reported that Regal's decision was because he wanted to spend more time with his son, NXT superstar Charlie Dempsey, but now the British legend has shared more details. In a statement issued on Twitter, Regal said that his reasoning for leaving AEW was time and time spent, and said there was no agenda for anything else. Regal also mentioned that after a serious health scare in 2018 and 2019, he realized his time is limited and went out of his way to thank Tony Khan and AEW for how he's been treated. While Regal said nothing negative about AEW or WWE in the post, which he said will be the final time he addresses his departure, his tweets were deleted, but it's unclear if he chose to take them down or if he was instructed to by WWE. Regal was with WWE for over 21 years before his release in January 2022, but is now back with the company, and he hopes that fans will stop trying to decipher a hidden reason for his AEW departure. Now, during a backstage promo on AEW Dynamite, Saraya used a British slur that earned her a fine, and the former Page issued an apology to AEW higher-ups backstage. Saraya won't be referring to Leva Bates or any AEW star as a anymore, but that doesn't mean you won't be hearing that word on AEW programming. While speaking to Alistair McGeorge of Metro, Saraya said she'd love it if fans used the term at AEW All In and Wembley Stadium, and that she can't get in trouble if the fans use that word. Saraya added that those at AEW were really sweet about things backstage and said it was incredibly noble of the company to donate her fine to charity. As we've seen from past UK events such as Clash at the Castle, the UK crowd can get plenty vocal when they want to, and while that word may be used plenty of times at All In, Saraya won't be to blame. When Mercedes Moné debuted for New Japan in January of this year, it was said that she would only have a handful of appearances to her name. Tonight, Moné will defend the IWGP Women's Championship against Mayu Iwatani in what Bushiroad has said is her final match on her contract. But now, the former superstar will be sticking around. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer reports that Moné and Bushiroad, the parent company of New Japan and Stardom, have agreed to a contract extension, though it's unclear as for how long. Regardless of how long the deal is, this raises questions as for Moné's title match, as many expected that she'd be dropping the Women's Championship to Iwatani, given that tonight was originally Mercedes' last night in New Japan. Not only will this not be Moné's final match for New Japan, but Meltzer added that there are plans for the former superstar's next match for the company to be in the United States. With AEW x NJPW Forbidden Door 2 coming up, it's possible that this will be Moné's next match, but whatever the case, the former Sasha Banks is staying with New Japan and Stardom. But what do you think? Is Mercedes making the right call by signing a contract extension, or would you rather see her in AEW or back in WWE? Sound off in the comments. This year, the idea of fans getting items signed by wrestlers has become a huge talking point ever since Rey Mysterio refused to sign multiple autographs, confident that these so-called fans would sell them on eBay. Those fans posted a video of Mysterio refusing to sign, trying to cast the Hall of Famer in a bad light, and now Alexa Bliss has spoken up about her own experiences with these kind of fans. When a Twitter user shared an eBay listing of a signed Alexa Bliss Funko Pop, which included a video of Bliss signing as proof of authenticity, Bliss said she's unfortunately used to it, and that those trying to sell her autograph get super offended if she says no. When another fan said that Bliss should implement a one autograph per person rule, the former champion said she tried that before, but fans just get back in line or will harass and follow her until she gives in. The issues with fans trying to get multiple autographs to sell online has gotten so bad that some superstars have been telling fans that they're not allowed to sign toys or trading cards, despite that rule not being a real thing by WWE management. While having an autograph can be a very special thing for fans, there are some people who are taking advantage of the superstars, and Bliss, like countless others, are sick of predatory, money-making fans. On the next episode of SmackDown, WWE will kick off its draft, and the biggest draft in WWE history will finish on the May 1st episode of Raw. Given that he made his debut in 2009, Sheamus is no stranger to being part of the WWE draft, but 1 year's selection process was nearly the end of the line for the Irish superstar. Speaking during a WWE 24 documentary, Sheamus recalled being the very last person picked on TV during the 2016 brand extension, which made him seriously reconsider his place with WWE. He said, "The draft came and I had just been WWE champion up until the end of December 2015. And I was the last pick on the televised draft. I'm thinking to myself, like, how have I gone from the guy to the last pick of the draft? I was like, this is a serious fall from grace. I was so angry, man. I was ready. I kind of felt like ready to walk. I really did. I felt like, what am I doing? I'm not enjoying this anymore." Sheamus ultimately decided not to leave and instead would capture the WWE Tag Team titles with Cesaro later that year, and has since gone on to have plenty more title wins and huge moments. Most recently, Sheamus has his sights set on becoming Intercontinental Champion, the only title he needs to finish the Grand Slam, and if he and Gunther end up on the same show after the draft, you can bet the Celtic Warrior will look to finish that journey. Since arriving on WWE's main roster last September, Solo Sikoa has been one of the most dominantly booked superstars in years, having only lost once on WWE programming. That loss came at the hands of Cody Rhodes in the run-up to WrestleMania 39, but now Sikoa has added a second L to his record. Competing at a live event in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Solo took only his second pinfall loss since arriving on the main roster, and yet again it was at the hands of the American Nightmare. It's worth pointing out that this loss wasn't clean, as Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens interfered in a twist of fate for the Bloodline's enforcer, who has interfered so many times on behalf of the Usos and Roman Reigns. It was certainly a surprise for fans to see Sikoa get pinned, and what have you made of the third Uso brother since his arrival on WWE's main roster? Sound off in the comments below. During this week's SmackDown, it was announced that Seth Rollins will face Omos at Backlash in a match that has left fans scratching their heads. The pair have hardly been at odds with each other as of late, and fans have criticized WWE for the random thrown-together match, but is this match really as thrown together as it seems? On Instagram, one fan shared the surprising history between Rollins and Omos, as it was after qualifying for the men's Money in the Bank match last year that Omos's victory celebration was cut short by Rollins. The following week, Rollins mocked the returning John Cena and would have continued insulting the 16-time world champion, if not for the interruption by the Nigerian Giant. This post was actually watched by Omos himself and shared it on his Instagram stories, adding that "I never forget." While it may be a bit of a stretch to say WWE always planned on returning to this storyline, Rollins and Omos do have a history, and according to some, their match at Backlash has been close to a year in the making. Are you more excited for this match now that you know of the pair's history? Or is this just a slap-together match? Either way, share your views in the comments. And we're ending today with Warner Bros. Discovery, as earlier this week, reports came out that the company had interest in WWE. James Andrew Miller, a former USA Network Executive Vice President of Original Programming, said that WBD, despite being AEW's media partner, would likely make a bid on WWE's media rights, but what are Warner Bros. Discovery themselves saying? PW Insider reports that many in WWE took notice of Miller's comments, but at this time, there has been no confirmation from WBD about alleged interest in WWE. Of course, that doesn't mean that Warner Bros. Discovery aren't interested, but that they just haven't made plans public yet. And we'll have to wait and see what the future holds for WWE and its media rights.